Hi, I am Sanjay Patel. In this lecture, we are going to prove uh, two important limits. So, I will be writing as the title of this two important limits. Important limits. Okay. So, in this regard, I will be proving two important results. The first theorem is this. We define a sequence xn let xn be a sequence defined as, say, xn is equal to sigma 1 upon k factorial k equal to 0 to n. Okay, and this one can also write as say for k equal to 0 you will get 1 upon 0 factorial, that is 1. For k equal to 1 you will get 1 upon 1 factorial. For k equal to 2, 1 upon 2 factorial, plus and so on, plus the last term is for k equal to n, that is 1 upon n factorial. This is our nth term of the sequence xn. And the problem is, just we want to show the convergence of this sequence. Prove that the sequence xn is convergent. Sequence xn is convergent. So let us start proving. You know, there are different methods of proving a sequence is convergent. What I am going to do here is I will be proving the sequence is bounded and it is monotonic. And we know that every monotonic bounded sequence is always convergent. So, first of all, let me start with the xn. What is given here is xn is equal to 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial plus 1 upon 2 factorial plus and so on plus 1 upon n factorial. Okay, and from this I can write what is xn plus 1. Xn plus 1 is 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial plus 1 upon 2 factorial plus and so on plus 1 upon n factorial plus 1 upon n plus 1 factorial. We have to go up to n plus 1 terms. From these two, we can say that xn plus 1 minus xn, if I take the difference, you know, all will be cancelled, only this term will be left. So you will get 1 upon n plus 1 factorial. So xn plus 1 minus xn, so 1 minus 1 0, 1 upon 1 factor minus 1 upon 1 factor 0, everything will be cancelled and we are left with 1 upon n plus 1 factorial. And this is clearly positive for any value of n. So I can say that xn plus 1 minus xn is greater than 0, and hence xn plus 1 is greater than xn for every n belongs to n. As a conclusion, we can say that the sequence xn is an increasing sequence. This is our first observation or first result. Now I will be proving that the sequence xn is bounded. And for that, let me start with the first term. Just note that the first term of the sequence is 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial, that is 2. The second term is 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial plus 1 upon 2 factorial, that is 1 plus 1 plus 1 by 2. So it is 5 by 2. 2 plus 1 by 2 is 5 by 2. Okay. So if you see any term, all terms contain 1 plus 1, that is 2, and any term in general, okay, I can say in general form xn is 2 plus something positive. So I can say that xn is always strictly greater than 2, or sorry, it is greater than or equal to 2, because the first term is 2. So we have proved that xn is greater than or equal to 2. I also want to prove it is less than or equal to something, or less than something, some constant. So it is a bounded sequence. So for that, let us consider again what is the sequence nth term xn, that is 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial plus 1 upon 2 factorial plus 1 upon 3 factorial and so on, plus 1 upon n factorial. Okay. Now I will be using a result from inequalities, and that is known to you. You must have seen this somewhere, that n factorial is always greater than or equal to 2 raised to n minus 1 for every n belongs to n. Okay, this you can prove by induction. You can verify for n equal to 1, left hand side is 1, right hand side is 2 raised to 1 minus 1, so 2 raised to 0 is 1. For n equal to 2 factorial left hand side, that is 2. Right hand side is 2 raised to 2 minus 1, that is also 2. And for n equal to 3, we get 3 factorial, and this is greater than or equal to 2 raised to 3 minus 1. So 2 raised to 2 means 4. So 6 is greater than 4. So this is also true. Correct? So you can prove that this is true for every n belongs to n. So I will be using this inequality, okay, in my this result. So what I can write here is this is less than or equal to 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial. So I can write simply 1 plus let me remove this, 1 upon 1 factorial, that is, see, because of this thing I can write 1 upon n factorial is less than or equal to 1 upon 2 raised to n minus 1. So if I put n equal to 1 here, 1 upon 1 factorial is less than or equal to 1 upon 2 raised to 0, that is 1. So I can write this is less than or equal to 1 plus 1 upon 1. 1 upon 2 factorial is less than 1 plus 1 upon 2. For n equal to 2, 2 minus 1 is 1, that is 2. 1 upon 3 factorial is less than or equal to 2 raised to 3 minus 1, so 2 square. 1 upon 4 factorial is less than or equal to 1 upon 2 cube, and so on. Finally, 1 upon n factorial is less than or equal to 1 upon 2 raised to n minus 1. Okay, so we get this relation. Now the next step is if I extend this finite sum, there are only n terms here in this right hand side, then this is strictly less than, if I keep on adding 1 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 2 square plus 1 by 2 cube and so on up to infinitely many terms, up to infinite terms rather, okay, then obviously this sum is less than this. And we know that this infinite series in this right hand side is a geometric series. This is a geometric series. I can show you like this. This first term I'm keeping separate, and I'm thinking only of these terms, or this part. Okay, so this part is an infinite geometric series whose first term geometric series whose first term a is 1 and the common ratio r is 1 by 2. And we know that if the common ratio of the geometric series is lying between 0 and 1, then the sum is given by a upon 1 minus r. Okay, so I can write here that this sum is equal to the 1 as it is plus sum of this I am writing as say 1 first term a equal to 1 upon 1 minus r, that is 1 by 2. See the ratio between any two terms, if you take like this, okay, 1 by 2 upon 1 is 1, 1 by 2 square upon 1 by 2, that is also 1 by 2, 1 by 2 upon 1 is 1, 1 by 2 square upon 1 by 2 is 1 by 2, 1 by 2 cube upon 1 by 2 square is also 1 by 2. So the ratio remains 1 by 2. So final answer here is 1 plus, this is 1 minus 1 by 2 is 1 by 2, but it's reciprocal, so it is 2. So finally we get this equals to 3. So what I have proved, the left hand side was xn, and this xn is less than or less than 3. This xn is less than 3. So thus what we have proved is this: 2 less than or equal to xn, and it is strictly less than 3 for every n belongs to n. For every n belongs to n. This is our result number 2. Or you can say the next step as result number 2, not this one. I can say this implies the sequence xn is bounded above. It is bounded above by 3. Let us call this as result number 2. It is actually a bounded sequence, but I want to say it is bounded above by 3 because result 1 says it is increasing sequence. Let us go back. See, it is increasing sequence in 1, and we have written here it is bounded above by 3. So from 1 and 2, the conclusion is the sequence xn from 1 and 2, the sequence xn is convergent, because we know that a monotonically increasing sequence which is bounded above is always convergent. Okay, that is, I can say limit of the sequence xn exists, that is limit n tends to infinity xn exists, and this limit we are going to define. It is some constant, and that constant turns out to be the famous number e. So that I am going to take as our definition of the irrational number e. We define the limit of this sequence, limit n tends to infinity of xn. What is xn? Xn is this sequence, sigma 1 upon k factorial k equal to 0 to n as number e. So this is our definition of the number e. Remember the sequence xn, that is sigma 1 upon k factorial n equal to 0, k equal to 0 to n is convergent, so its limit exists, and it has been proved that this value turns out to be the number e, or one can define the limit of this as the constant e. Okay, next we are considering another important result in the limit of sequence as a theorem 2. It is another famous sequence. Prove that the sequence 1 plus 1 upon n raised to n is convergent, and also show that limit n tends to infinity, 1 plus 1 upon n raised to n is that number e what we have defined just now. Means the limit of that the previous sequence and limit of this sequence both are same. Okay, so let us prove. First of all, we have to establish the convergence of the given sequence. So I will first put xn is equal to 1 plus 1 upon n raised to n. Consider this sequence. What is this sequence? I can use the binomial expansion to analyze this more deeply. We know what is the binomial expansion of this 1 plus x raised to n, or you can say a plus b whole raised to n. So I will be using that. This is equal to nc0, that is 1 into 1 raised to n, plus nc1 into 1 upon n, plus nc2 into 1 upon n square, plus nc3 into 1 upon n cube, plus and so on, plus ncn into 1 upon n raised to n. You know how to expand this thing, a plus b raised to n. You know this result. It is nc0 a raised to n plus nc1 a raised to n minus 1 into b, plus and so on, plus ncn into b raised to n. Okay, so I am using this this binomial expansion for this sequence. Okay, now let us consider the simplification of this. This is equal to 1 plus, I am writing like this, n, nc1 is n into 1 upon n, nc2 is n into n minus 1 upon 2 factorial into 1 upon n square, plus n into n minus 1 into n minus 2 upon 3 factorial into 1 upon n cube. And finally, we can write this as n into n minus 1 up to n minus 1, okay, like this, upon n factorial into 1 upon n raised to n. Okay, now what? Let us rewrite this in a different way. This is same as 1 plus 1 plus this there is n square here, which I can write as n into n, and then there are these two n's. I want to give to this numerator 1n to this n, and I will divide 1n with this n, and I will divide n minus 1 by the second n. So what I will get is 1 into 1 minus 1 upon n upon 2 factorial. The same way for the third term, this term, we have n cube over here, which we can write as n into n into n. 1n will be cancelled, or we can say it is 1 n upon n is 1. Then n minus 1, this n minus 1 and upon second n gives you 1 minus 1 upon n. Then the remaining n, we divide this n minus 2, and we get 1 minus 2 upon n, and this whole thing upon 3 factorial. And if you continue like this, the last term will get same way, 1 minus 1 upon n, 1 minus 2 upon n, and so on, 1 minus n minus 1 upon n, the whole thing upon n factorial. So we are getting this. Okay, let me call this as result star, which is useful. Note that all the brackets you see here, their values are less than 1. See, 1 minus 1 upon n is less than 1, 1 minus 2 upon n is less than 1, 1 minus 3 upon n is less than 1, and so on. So since each bracket is less than 1, I can write this is less than, say, less than or equal to 1 plus 1 plus 1 upon 2 factorial plus 1 upon 3 factorial plus 1 upon 4 factorial and so on. Will get 1 plus 1 upon n factorial, because 1 minus a term like this, see, you observe that all these terms 1 upon n, 2 upon n, they are of the form k upon n, where k is 1, 2, 3 and so on. So this is less than or equal to 1. Okay, so I can write like this, and this is nothing but sigma 1 upon k factorial, k equal to 0 to n. It is our known sequence. If you observe, this is nothing but the sequence of the previous theorem, and we know very well that this sequence, this sigma value is always less than 2 for, is always less than 3. It is always less than 3 for every n belongs to n. For every n belongs to n. So what I have proved here is, thus xn is less than 3 for every n belongs to n, and that means the sequence xn is bounded above by 3. Okay, this is result number 1. Now I want to show that this sequence xn, what we have discussed here, is increasing sequence. So for that I will be concentrating on this result star. See, this result star is actually the nth term. See, we have started with this xn and we have proved that it is equal to this thing. So this is your xn actually. So xn is this. If I want xn plus 1, what should I do is just replace n by n plus 1 everywhere. So let me write that thing, because I want to understand the relation between xn and xn plus 1. So I will be writing like this. Now xn plus 1 is equal to 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial plus 1 minus 1 upon n plus 1, okay, upon 2 factorial plus 1 minus 1 upon n plus 1, 1 minus 2 upon n plus 1 upon 3 factorial and so on, plus, I no need to write that other terms. Instead, let me write one more term here. Say the next will be 1 minus 1 upon n plus 1, 1 minus 2 upon n plus 1, 1 minus 3 upon n plus 1 upon 4 factorial plus and so on up to the last term. Okay, it is not infinite, remember, just I am omitting that last thing. This is our xn plus 1. Let me call this as, say, double star. Now relation between star and double star, if you observe, we have 1 minus 1 upon n here, we have 1 minus 1 upon n and 1 minus 2 upon n here, okay, in that xn. So first two terms are same, 1 and 1. These two are same as in xn. I will not write that xn again, it is just understood. Just think that xn is just replacing n plus 1 by n. It is already written above, we don't want to write it again, but one can observe, if you compare, just note that 1 minus 1 upon n plus 1 is, let me write the other way. 1 minus 1 upon n, that is the third term. This is third term. This is third term. So 1 minus 1 upon n in xn, the third term, is less than 1 minus 1 upon n plus 1, the third term of this thing. And then we also have this 1 minus 2 upon n is less than 1 minus 2 upon n plus 1. This you can observe very easily, because what happens here is 1 upon n and 1 upon n plus 1. Which one is larger? If the denominator is small, here n is smaller than n plus 1. So 1 upon n is larger. N is small, so 1 upon n is larger. Okay, so this is a larger value compared to 1 upon n plus 1. So obviously this difference is, 1 minus 1 upon n is less than 1 minus 1 upon n plus 1. Or we can prove directly also just by simplifying this. So what is the main thing? That if you compare the first two terms of xn and xn plus 1, they are same, but from third term onwards, this is the third term, this is fourth term, this is fifth term. So from third term onwards, the term in the right hand side of xn is less than the corresponding term in the right hand side of xn plus 1. That means the value, that is xn, is less than xn plus 1. So as every term in the RHS of star is less than the corresponding term, this is important word, corresponding term in the RHS of double star, from, this is important, from third term onwards. What is this? From third term onwards. So let me just highlight this. This is very important. From third term onwards, every term in the right hand side of star is less than every corresponding term in the right hand side of double star. So therefore, the values in the left hand sides have this relation. So I can say, hence the value in star, which is xn, is less than the value in the double star, which is xn plus 1. And this is true for every n belongs to n. So what is the conclusion? The conclusion is, this implies xn is an increasing sequence. Just recall that we have already proved that xn is bounded above by 3 in result number 1. So I will call this as result number 2. So from 1 and 2, the conclusion is, from 1 and 2, the sequence xn is convergent. Because we know that a bounded above and increasing sequence of real numbers is always convergent. Every monotonically increasing sequence which is bounded above is always convergent. So that means the limit exists. This implies, I can say, limit n tends to infinity of the given sequence xn is equal to x. Say this exists. Okay. What I want to prove, the main thing now, is this, that the value of this limit x is same as the number e. So we shall prove that x and e, these two numbers are same. What is the e? E is defined as the limit of the sequence 1 sigma 1 upon k factorial as n tends to infinity as in the previous theorem. So I'll be proving that that limit e and the limit x both are same. So for this I start with again the sequence xn, and let us observe this thing. Now if I consider xn, we have already written that thing. This xn is less than sigma 1 upon k factorial, k equal to 0 to n for every n belongs to n. This I have already proved in the previous steps. Let us understand that here. See this one. This is less than sigma 1 upon k factorial. Okay, sit. So if I take limit on both the sides, taking limit as n tends to infinity, we get the left hand side limit n tends to infinity xn, and it is less than or equal to limit n tends to infinity of sigma, what is this, is less than or equal to sigma 1 upon k factorial, k equal to 0 to n. We know the left hand side limit is x and the right hand side limit is e. So what is proved is x is less than or equal to e. Okay. Now what remains is to show x is greater than or equal to e. For that I will be considering two natural numbers, say n and m, and suppose the natural numbers n and m has this relation. Suppose n is greater than m. Okay, if n is greater than m, then this nth term of the sequence, which we have written like this, 1 plus 1 upon say 1 factorial plus 1 minus 1 upon n upon say 2 factorial plus 1 minus 1 upon n, 1 minus 2 upon n upon 3 factorial, and so on. What I want here is I want to write the mth term, the term corresponding to n equal to m. See, then this numerator is changing 1, 2, 3. So somewhere, since m is smaller, we'll get this term also, 1 minus 1 upon n, 1 minus 2 upon n, and so on, 1 minus m upon n upon m factorial, plus and so on, and the last term. Okay, I don't want to write the last term. What is my point is, here if I consider all the terms and if I truncate say up to this mth term, then what we can write is that the whole sum is strictly greater than 1 plus 1 upon 1 factorial plus 1 minus 1 upon n upon 2 factorial plus and so on, plus say this thing, 1 minus 1 upon n, 1 minus 2 upon n, and 1 minus m upon n upon m factorial. Do you understand this? See, I have not written the last term. Okay, you know what is the last term here. That just you have to go up to 1 minus n minus 1 upon n here. Okay, in the numerator, and the denominator will be n factorial. So there are many terms. I mean, suppose there are n is equal to something, say 50 terms, and m is equal to say 25. So we are not considering all the 50 terms. So if you remove some terms after 25th term onwards, then obviously that value is smaller than the original value. So that's common sense is used here. Remember, we are not using the fact that it is an increasing sequence. This is true for any fixed m. This is true for any fixed n, for any value of m. So if I now fix the number m in this inequality and take the limit as n tends to infinity, okay, we have this thing, xn is greater than this. So keeping m fixed, okay, here m appears, so keeping m fixed and taking limit as n tends to infinity, we get the left hand side will be limit n tends to infinity of xn, this greater than becomes greater than or equal to, and here if I take the limit as n tends to infinity, the first terms are as it is, 2 terms. In the third term, 1 minus 1 upon n tends to 0, so it is simply 1 upon 2 factorial. In the third term we have 1 minus 1 upon n, 1 minus 2 upon n, so 1 upon n, 2 upon n both, see, you can see here, 1 upon n and 2 upon n both tends to 0, so this will tend to 1 upon 3 factorial, plus and so on. In the last term here, you see, this 1 upon n, 2 upon n, m upon n, all tends to 0, so 1 remains, 1 minus 0, 1 minus 0, okay, m times. So we'll get 1 upon m factorial. And what is this value? This value is nothing but sigma 1 upon k factorial, where k is equal to 0 to m. Okay, and what is the left hand side? This left hand side, we know that the left hand side is the limit of the sequence xn, which we assume to be x. So x is greater than or equal to sigma 1 upon k factorial, k equal to 0 to m. And remember, this m is arbitrary, so this is true for every m belongs to n. This is true for every m belongs to n. And therefore, if I take the limit now as say m tends to infinity, taking limit as m tends to infinity, we get this left hand side is constant, so this x remains as it is, greater than or equal to limit m tends to infinity of this thing, k equal to 0 to m 1 upon k factorial. But this limit is e, as we have proved in the previous theorem, or the theorem number 1. Okay, so what is proved is x is greater than or equal to e. This is our second result. First, we have already proved that x is less than or equal to e in the previous step, in result number 3. See, this is already proved, x is less than or equal to e. And now we have proved that x is greater than or equal to e. So this is result number 4. So from 3 and 4, I can say x is equal to e. Okay, but what is x? It is the limit of the given sequence. So I can say limit n tends to infinity of xn, which is x, is equal to e. Or in other words, you know what is xn, so we can write the nth term now, that is 1 plus 1 upon n whole raised to n is equal to E. So this theorem is also proved. So these are two very important theorems for the topic of this sequence of real numbers, and we'll be proving and some more examples in the next lecture, and also we will define what is called a subsequence of a sequence and see how the limit of subsequence and the sequence are related. So thank you.